Hey everyone, it's Charlie. It is June 19th, Friday. I want to do a video about this current optimism bubble that that I think we're in and that I think is about to pop. And just do a quick overview of what got us here and what the outcome is going to be, I think, very shortly. Um, we've seen unbelievable velocity of robbery by our own government. Starting back in September, when the last speed bump that was placed before the complete theft of this country was our elected representatives who actually had the guts to say no to Wall Street. Um, and then they tanked the stock market 700 points in one day. As Brad Sherman says, they threatened martial law if they didn't get this thing passed. So it was shoved back into the House, and they passed it in 4 days. And that set the and there it is. I mean, there. If you look back at brief history, that's the last line of defense that we had between total takeover of the economy and the wealth of this country, and the American people. That was it. That was our speed bump. That was our big defense. Our elected representatives standing up for us one time and then capitulating in 4 days. That sets a template for immediate gratification uh, by by our government. They need immediate gratification in order to fix these problems that took decades, if not longer, to create. We have the talk of the day up until the inauguration and even post inauguration of we're still on the verge of a depression, and we need this $1 trillion stimulus package passed. So bam, it gets passed with zero review, 12 hours for whatever 1,400 pages, and nobody read this thing. They don't know what's in it. It isn't working, and how could you expect it to work? It isn't designed to work. It's designed to steal our money, even more of it. So, but the instant that happened, the gears in Washington and Wall Street changed, and we needed to gear up to optimism now, so we could float the hope of the American people. We could string them along for a while more. Why do we need to string them along longer? Because we need to get full dictatorial power given to a non-elected private entity called the Federal Reserve. And now that's about to happen. The switch was flicked. We're going to start talking optimism. We're going to start pumping billions and trillions of dollars into Wall Street. We're really not going to give this money to the people. We could pay off every mortgage in this country for what we spent, but we're not. We're going to pump it into financial companies so the money stays where it belongs with the people that know what they're doing. And that jumps the markets up 30% in 3 months. But now fundamentals are catching up because they haven't changed. Unemployment rates are still skyrocketing. Foreclosures are now mainstream borrowers are the majority of foreclosures, not subprime borrowers. We've got more private small banks failing. 4 times the amount of last year have already failed halfway through this year. So fundamentals are catching up with the optimism bubble. And even in the markets, we're seeing a level off and now a start to decline. They can try to inflate they can try to inflate the optimism bubble, but they only have to keep it inflated long enough for this new Federal Reserve to be installed as the real government of this country. And let me explain what I mean by that, because that isn't a fantasy. That isn't some weird conspiracy. The Federal Reserve is going to have the power to go in, bail out without approval from Congress, without the approval from anybody, to bail out any company or take over any company that is systemic to the economy. And the economy is the country. You control the economy, you control the country. That goes from the law enforcement to the military to every Joe Blow on the street is affected and lives in the economy. So we're going to grant them new powers, but we're going to hear things like more supervision, more transparency, just a little bit more power is all they need. They already have the power of our currency. What in the hell else do they need? Well, they need power to go in and take over whatever they deem necessary to take over. And with that power, that's everything. You can have a token government. You can have a token Congress. Who's going to vote on what? Who cares? What they're going to end up legislating is what the Federal Reserve decides to give them to legislate on. Everything else of matter is going to go through the Federal Reserve. And we're really close to that. So when this bubble pops, the optimism bubble and the bailout bubble, it won't matter because no one's going to have to go before the American people and explain why we need to indenture you for the rest of your lives to pay off debt, because it's not going to need to be voted on anymore, because a privately owned corporation with a non-elected official and a non-elected board is going to decide what's best for you. That's all I got.